Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for October 19th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. It was day 78 in the house as we close in on the true end game of the season after 78 days. We are here. Of course, Jag is the invisible HOH. He has double backdoored Corey and America with Corey as the target. And Corey has come up with this plan to try to flip Bowie's vote to get her to vote along with Cirie and Felicia for him to stay and also get her to flip away from Matt and Jag in general. And he put part of that plan into motion yesterday. We talked about it yesterday on the update, that he was telling Bowie that Felicia told him that she was in a final four with Matt and Jag. And then he went to Felicia and said, "Hey, will you back this up? Will you help me, make this happen so that Bowie flips away from Matt and Jag?" And then Felicia immediately sold him out. So the plan is already dead in the water. However, it's going to be a major focus of the day here on day 78. Of course, rule number one about telling lies in the house is that you don't tell other people about your lies unless they are like super solidly your allies. Unless you're Anthony Douglas and you can orchestrate like various levels of the lie and story, you should not be telling people, "I plan to tell a lie." Like this would have been more effective if Corey had just said, "I'm pretty sure they have a final four with Cirie and Felicia." But hey, what are you gonna do? So Corey starts the day putting this plan into motion. He puts on his pink suit, and he goes into action. He goes to Cirie. Now, if he had gone to Cirie in the first place, maybe this would have played out a little differently. But he goes to Cirie. He tells Cirie the plan, and Cirie, of course, is like, "Oh wow, great plan." But while he is telling Cirie about it, Felicia is talking directly to Bowie about his plan, how he plans to lie to her. Don't believe a single word Corey says. Is the complete opposite of what he wanted Felicia to do. And again, this plan is dead before it can even remotely start moving. So why is Felicia doing this? Is the question that people have been asking all day. Because she's going to talk to both Cirie and Blue a little bit later about how Bowie is just super tight with Matt and Jag. As she's talking to Bowie about this stuff, Bowie's like, "Well, I don't think they would ever do that to me." Like, it's very clear that she's working with them. In fact, she seems to maybe have a final three with them. And to the point where Blue, of all people, is like, "What is she doing? Is she just going to go to the end with those two guys and lose? Like, what a moron." So you'd think that a plan orchestrated by Corey to help sow some seeds of distrust between Bowie and Matt and Jag would be something you'd want to encourage, something you'd want to help string along. You don't have to keep him. Just let him sow the seeds of mistrust. This is what I was saying at the start of the week, that this is a perfect outcome for somebody like Cirie, because she can just let Corey do some damage to Matt and Jag. She doesn't even have to get involved. Now, Corey's mistake, again, is that he tried to get Felicia involved. And this is why I personally think that Felicia is doing this. From Felicia's point of view, Corey is getting her in trouble. He's getting her involved in his mess, and she wants nothing to do with it. So she's trying to say, "Don't believe a single word Corey says. I'm not involved in any of this." Of course, the result of this is that she's just convincing Bowie to be further locked in with Matt and Jag. And there's a much better way of going about this. But Felicia's very focused on herself in this situation. She doesn't want to get in trouble. Um, which she literally just could have told Corey, I don't want to do that. Do your own thing. But hey, she'd rather go to Bowie. So that's happening on that end. That's happening throughout the day. This is happening. Corey is setting this up. Felicia is undermining it. Suri is wishing it would go into action, but Felicia keeps undermining it. While this is happening, America has finally come out of bed, out from under the blankets. She's ready to talk to Jag. And I tweeted this out because I was listen, I'm not somebody that's like, you need to have drama. I'm not somebody that's like, you need to get into fights. I appreciate a good, mature reconciliation conversation where we, iron out our differences. We come to a good conclusion. We talk through our issues. I'm down for that. Maybe that's boring, but I'm okay with it. What I'm not okay with is two people who've been talking all kinds of smack coming together and then lying to each other's faces about all the smack that they have talked, not talking about their differences whatsoever, and just being like, yeah, it's chill though, right? Like, what? That is not only boring, but it's also not even true. You're still fighting each other. You're just not actually doing the fighting. Like, this is a problem. This is not television. When Jag is having these trash talking sessions 24/7 about how America needs to grow up, she sucks, she's been hiding behind Corey, he's been protecting them this whole time. Then in a conversation with America, he's like, yeah, we don't need to talk about the details, but I was just hurt. So, but it's fine now. And then go back and then continue to trash talk her like, what? Come on. And America, little more understandable because she's in a position of little power and she's trying to trick Jag into thinking that she's not coming for him. And I get that. But come on. This is America. You're the one who said all along. Let's just say to their face we're coming for them. Anyway. It's a boring conversation is my point. She explains what her conversations with Blue were. They weren't what Blue is trying to pretend they are. Corey had nothing to do with them. She said she was really hurt by The Blind Side. She looked like an idiot in her veto speech because she thought it was all a joke. And Jag says, well, I was really hurt when I heard about what you said to Blue. And we don't have to talk. We don't have to go into details about what you said to Blue because and America's like, yeah. What do you mean? No. What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean we don't need to get into details? You can respectfully have a conversation about details. If you don't, listen, this is real life advice. If you don't get into details with a person that you have fought with, that you were supposed to be friends with, you're not friends with them. Friends talk about details because details are important. Details are the reason why you're upset in the first place. If you pretend the details don't exist, you're just pretending. Clear sign. We don't need to talk about details. But I was just really hurt. And I wanted to, I was hurt because I really trusted you guys. And I really wanted to go to the end with you. But then I heard that stuff about from Blue. And it's like, Jag. That's not true. But it's fine. He wins a bunch of comps. She says she's really upset with people like Blue and Bowie. There are other people that she's more upset with. Um, you know, because she gets it. She gets that it's a move. She gets like she's the one that trusted Blue again when she shouldn't have. And so, she gets it. Like there are other people that she might be looking at. And, I'm telling everyone that I'm going after you and Matt, but maybe that doesn't have to be true. And this is what I'm talking about. I literally said this when Corey said to Matt, "You'd never believe me if I told you I wasn't coming after you." I was like, "What do you mean? Try?" America, who has been shunning Matt and Jag for days, literally has one conversation with him is like, "Maybe I won't come after you." And the light bulb lights up in Jag's. Wait, really? It's like, yeah, I mean, we can still pretend to be going after each other, but I don't know if that's a good idea for me. Oh, I like that idea. No, that's a good idea. We'll keep pretending. It's like, see, Corey. Um, so, and yes, she is lying for the record. In the meantime, Corey is going to talk to Felicia and be like, "Hey, Felicia, what do you think about the plan? Should we go with the plan? I think we should do the plan." And Felicia's like, "Ah." Jag goes and talks to Matt, and he's like, "So I talked to America." And Matt's like, "Yeah," and she said she's coming for us, I'm sure. And Jag's like, "Well, that's the thing." I mean, I don't know if I believe it 100%, but there's definitely a chance that if she wins, she won't put us up. She basically said that she's more mad at Bowie and Blue, but we can't tell anyone because if she's gonna stay on, if she's gonna stay on the Matt and Jag train, then like that's good. Because uh, if she actually puts them on the block instead of us, if they know that she might put them on the block and not us, then they'll want to get rid of her, and we don't want her to leave because she might not put us up. And Matt's like, Really though?" You're like, I don't know if we should try. Like, let's make sure she's not gonna like. Let's make sure she still doesn't win." Jack's like, "Yeah, yeah, of course, of course." But it makes sense because if she puts us up, then the other one is going after her. So I don't know, right? So that's where Matt and Jag are. Corey talks to the cameras. He says he thinks he's a goner. This plan is probably not going to work. Felicia was not very excited. Um, he starts talking about his mistakes in the game. He says he chilled out too much over the last few weeks. That he was kind of unwilling to make a big move for the sake of making a big move, and then maybe because of that wasn't really making any moves. Um, he says probably his biggest mistake was that he should have kept Mimi. Um, he's unable to win comps, and he needs to be dragged to the end. So keeping Felicia because she's worse at competitions and needs to be dragged to the end definitely the wrong decision. He says. Um, Hear that, Corey stands that got mad at me for saying it was a wrong move? I think he's right. I think it's very astute of him to realize it. He says keeping Cameron was never the right play. That was never going to be the right move. Cameron can say, "Told you so" all you want. But he would have said that to literally anybody walking in the door. He also left saying that he would have targeted Corey. So if he does say "I told you so," then He says the only person that he didn't actually like, he actually didn't like in the game was Cameron for obvious reasons. He feels the worst about Izzy. He feels really bad that he is the reason that her dream ended. And he feels like he did what was necessary at the time, but he just feels really bad about it. And yeah, there were things Jared said about people that he didn't like, but he thinks he's a good guy. They'll hang out. He says, I just don't have the thing, you know, that like people like Dan have. Like Dan's able to do all this shady stuff, but he still is able to make people trust him. I don't have that. I got nothing. Um, he says he's pushed himself so far out of his comfort zone, talking to people all the time when all he really wants to do is be by himself. It's been exhausting. And I think we've definitely seen that. And he says, listen, at the end of the day, competitions are king in modern Big Brother, and it's hard if you're not good at them. And like good players can sometimes overcome that, but that's not him. He's not a good enough player to overcome that. And he says the twists have sucked also. That I don't like twists as a viewer, and I like them even less as a player. But Big Brother's a great game. It's just the show is kind of mid. He says he looks forward to talking with me, as in Taran. As look, I hope he enjoys the conversation. Got a lot of things to talk about in terms of game things. He says that oh, and you know what? This is the thing I'm most gonna grill him on of all the things. He says Matt is playing the best game in the house, and it's not close. Okay, I mean that's a weird way to spell Suri, but he says if Matt gets to the end, he's voting for him. If Jag gets to the end, he'll vote for him. So Matt over Jag, but if Jag makes it there, he'll also vote for Jag. And now obviously, this is if America's there, he's voting for America. Obviously. But in I'm like, where is Suri? I noticed you didn't say Suri in any of those words. So this is not a great sign for Suri if this is the case. Now, I don't think it's like a done deal. I think that I'm assuming that he assumes that Matt or Jag would not be there with Suri, that they would be there with somebody like Bowie, that it's Matt versus Jag, he's voting for Matt. It's Jag versus Bowie, he's voting for Jag. Jag versus Suri, Matt or Jag versus Felicia or Matt versus Felicia. I'm assuming he thinks that they won't be there with Suri, but this is not the Corey I was necessarily expecting to come out of the house. Uh, you know, but it's not impossible that he comes back around. But we'll see. So very good indication though. I think especially like Corey is very firmly Matt over Jag. I think that like any hints that maybe Jag would be able to beat Matt probably quelled from this unless he changes his mind in the next 20 days, which is certainly possible. But he's pretty firmly thought this for a long time. From like week 2 or 3, people were always telling him, I feel great about Matt, and him saying, I also feel great about Matt, which is a problem. And here Matt is. So it does feel fairly likely at this point that Matt has a great chance over Jag. So that's the most that we should, I think, read into this. But it's definitely not the best sign in the world for Suri's jury chances. But it's again, we'll see. Suri talks to America. And America gives Suri the whole story, the similar thing that she talked to Jag about. Um, and tells her about like how um this is what Blue said, so on and so forth. Suri warns her that Bowie is already saying we need to protect Matt and Jag. So this plan of Corey's is not going to work. And America's like, oh, geez, that's not good. Um, America had just been talking to Felicia as well. And Felicia was like, I think Bowie has a crush on Matt. Bowie's got to go. Um, and America is talking to Suri. Much more like natural conversation here, though. Suri mentions to America she's annoyed every week. Everyone jumps on the bash the nominee train, going out of their way to point out all of the everything that they've done wrong. Like they haven't been doing the same things. Um, and of course, this is music to America's ears. Suri also talks to Blue briefly and after her conversation with America and lets her know that she really doesn't think America is coming for Blue. She thinks that America feels more betrayed by Matt and Jag, which is, of course, not what America is telling Matt and Jag, but it is what America is actually feeling and thinking. Um, so Matt talks to America as well. They have the same conversation as the one she had with Jag. She does add in some of the other stuff she was talking to Suri about, where like she's been hearing that Felicia's being told that Corey and America are making jokes at her expense about like how she's gonna like Cameron didn't want her to be in the jury house and she's gonna come out of the solitary confinement with like a Dan's funeral. And she's like, I think it's kind of nasty to tell Felicia about these jokes as though they were like directed at her trying to make fun of her rather than just like playful things we were doing. And of course, Matt, the person who was spreading those jokes as though they were nasty things, is like, oh yeah, that's terrible. I would never do that. Um, and she goes on to say, like, that there are other people that she feels more betrayed by, and maybe there's a world where she's not targeting them, so on and so forth, right? Same stuff. Um, Corey finally is going to give Bowie some of his pitch about how, hey, Matt and Jag, they're doing the Izzy, they're working with these people. He says, yeah, honestly, you're probably most in danger if they win because everyone else is going to be targeting Matt and Jag. And you won't be out if they win. But if Matt or Jag win, you never know. They're working with everyone. They could betray you at a moment's notice. She said, you really think they'd put me up? I mean, they might. They put you up. And he says, well, Jag told Felicia that it would be you and Blue on the block, and whoever loses the veto goes home. So, but of course, she already knows that Felicia's already told her that Corey approached her with this plan to lie about what Felicia has said. Um, and so, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. Um, but this is still upsetting Bowie. She is going to go to Jag and starts talking to Jag about it. She's like, yeah, so, Corey's doing this thing and he's saying these things. And she starts tearing up a little bit. And she's like, I'm not doubting you at all. It's just a lot to do. And Jag, being Jag, is like, no, don't cry. He's like, it's okay. It's just a lot, and he's like, well, listen, none of what Corey is saying is true at all. Not once did I ever suggest you go up next to Blue. Not once. Apart from that time I tried to get you to volunteer to go on the block against Blue as a pawn. But other than that, it never has happened. It never would happen. Except for that time I wanted to put you on. But that's a one-time thing. And so she continues to just cry to him, and so, like, my read on this was that, like, Bowie, even though she's been told to lie, I think that it's like I think she recognizes I think she recognizes the truth. I could be wrong. Suri, I think, has a similar read. I think she recognizes that, like, Corey may be lying to her in this moment, but the spirit of what he's saying is kind of true, which means that yet again, she's not really on a team. She's just kind of a third wheel. And she really desperately wants to be on a team. And so she's trying her best to make that happen, despite knowing deep down that it's not. Um, but that's just my read and Cerie's read. Uh, Corey talks to America and says, they've been talking all day, by the way. They've been back and forth. They've been crying to each other. Um, but Corey tells her, honestly, if you have a choice, Matt should go before Jag. And this is a very rare opinion in this house. Everyone wants Jag gone before Matt. But Corey says Matt is just way better of a player. You take Matt out, everyone still wants Jag gone. You take Jag out, Matt blends back in, which is true. She says, but Jag is a better competitor and he's closer to Blue. And the second half of that isn't really true. And he says, maybe, but if you have a chance at Matt, you have to take it. He's the best player in this house by far. She says, yeah, we've been over this, but it's true. Okay. So he's telling her she should go after Matt. She doesn't seem super convinced, and it's not the opinion of the rest of the house. So I don't know how much traction this will actually have, um, because nobody else will want this. Everybody else will want Jag out first. And so, like, even if she had the option, or I should say, even if she wanted to, I don't know that she has the option. Um, on top of that, she may be convinced otherwise once Corey's not there to reinforce the point on Matt. But it's interesting that they had this conversation. It might be important later. So Bowie then talks to Cerie. She cries to Cerie as well. And Cerie's like, oh, Bowie, why are you crying? Do you think it's true? Do you think what Corey's saying might be true? Is that why you're crying? She's like, I don't think so. It's like, then why are you upset? I mean, if you don't think it's true, then why are you upset? Just try to get a little bit under there. Um, and so they get interrupted, but it's a very funny interaction to me. Um, Bowie then talks to both Matt and Jag, who again confirm that they're with her. It's all the same conversations. She's crying some more. They all agree. Corey needs to stop campaigning. Look at what he's doing to Bowie. Corey is the problem here. He needs to stop this campaign. Meanwhile, Cerie finally gets a moment alone with Felicia, and she's annoyed because Felicia has been shutting this thing down the whole time. And Cerie's like, Felicia, if you keep telling Bowie that Matt and Jag are not lying and that Corey is lying and that they're not targeting Bowie, then who else are they putting up? Felicia's like, they're just trying to appease her because she thinks she's going up this week. And she's like, all right, if she doesn't, then who is? Felicia's like, I don't know. Us? It's Cerie's just like Felicia, what are you doing? Like, why? Why? Why are you trying to convince Bowie that they're not coming after her? What does that do for us? And if they're really not going after her, then who are they going after? Because there's not a lot of people left. But this is not the end of Cerie's frustrations with Felicia today. We are closing in on the end of the day, though. Corey and America are having their last night together, heart to heart, tear to tear in the bed, when Bowie walks up to them. Hey guys, I just want you to know that I just want the campaigning to stop. I'm not changing my vote. So if you could just stop campaigning, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm just letting you know that my vote is set. So okay. Corey's like, what the? The last few days in particular have done immense damage to Bowie's. I would say like on Survivor when they're trying to start a fire and you got like that little bit of a spark, little bit of a flame, you need to like nurse it to build it into the big flame. Bowie had that little spark, you know? He was in a good position. He just made a big move having been HOH. And then this week, these last couple of days, she took a bucket of water and put it on that spark. Bowie Jane is in the worst position she's ever been in this game. She is going to have a really hard time winning this game. After these couple of days, it's not just telling Corey to not campaign. In fact, that's the least egregious thing. It's the fact that like you can't do this. You can't be like, no, my friends are not betraying me when everyone knows that you're just playing for them to win. It's like nobody respects what that is in the game. And so like this is bad. This is bad stuff. Bad stuff for Bowie. But what are you gonna do? So after Bowie says this, Corey in America, they are literally just shocked silent for like 30 to 60 seconds. They don't know what to say after Bowie. Please stop campaigning. Please stop campaigning. I can't handle it emotionally that you're trying to save yourself in a game. America starts crying. She goes, I'm so sorry. And he's comforting her. And then he starts crying to her later, saying, like, don't be sorry. I couldn't have done any of this without you. And she says, well, it's not over. You've got the jury house. He says, I'm not crying because it's over. I'm crying because I'm relieved. It's been so hard. And this, this is, they have lots of these. Finally, last thing of the night, last thing to point out here before we wrap up and prep for tonight's eviction. Not looking like a slip and slide. I feel like they would have told us if it was endurance, right? Which means they're just going to keep prepping for it next time. Cerie and Felicia. Now, I want to give you a little bit of context for this because basically ever since, like Mimi left and like the comic room has been granted Mimi wasn't in the comic room, but like everyone left the comic room and that's Cerie's space. Felicia's been there too. They hang out on Cerie's bed. That's always been everyone hangs out on Cerie's bed. This has been a plague that has been following Cerie throughout the entire game. Is that like Corey? She likes her alone time, but she's also Cerie Fields, and so everywhere she goes, people end up congregating. And so, of course, she is often in her bed, and people end up congregating around her bed. So lately, Felicia has been hanging out on Cerie's bed with Cerie. And, people get a little gassy in the house. Big Brother loves to point that out and make it worse. So she's been farting on the bed occasionally. And Cerie's been like, hey, don't be farting on my bed. Chill. And Felicia will be like, you do it. And Cerie's like, that's my own farts. I can fart on my own bed. Don't fart on my bed. And Felicia's just like, that's so funny, the thing we're doing. And Cerie's like, yeah, it's funny, but also don't do it. So tonight, on night 78, they're having a conversation in Cerie's bed, and they're doing their very annoying whisper. And they're talking about Matt and Jag and how they have Bowie locked up, which is really bad for them. When Cerie's like, yeah, so why are you helping? They're saying they're putting up America and Blue, but obviously they're not telling Blue that. So this is information that they can help use to flip Blue if they need to. Felicia says, Bowie's got to go. And Cerie tells her, well, we should be letting Corey rile Bowie up because the more she acts out, the more Matt and Jag will want to drop her. Felicia's like, yeah. But Felicia's a little preoccupied. She's doing what Cerie will refer to as toenail surgery on Cerie's bed. She's got the clippers, she's got the file, and she's just going to town on the toes and the toenails. And Cerie is watching her do it. Like, Felicia, if you don't get your toenails off my bed, are you out of your mind? And Felicia goes, I'm trying. They're breaking. Felicia's like, and Cerie's like, oh my God. And she doesn't get off the bed. She just keeps doing it. Like she thinks it's a joke. And Cerie is just like continuing to watch her like, America, please vote on whether or not it's appropriate for Felicia to be performing toenail surgery on my bed. It's making me weak. I'm about to pass out. And Felicia's like, oh, Cerie, you're so funny. Oh. And then Felicia's like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta grab the clippers. I gotta grab the clippers. It's time to go in. And Cerie's like, no, not on my bed, you're not. You need to stop the toenail surgery. And Felicia's like, okay, haha, very funny, very funny. All right, I won't do it on your bed. And then Cerie's sitting there, and she's, like, trying to, like, like, flatten out the sheets, the blankets. She's like, "You left literal toenail dust on my bedspread." And Felicia's like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "I'm looking at it right now." So that's what that's what Cerie's been dealing with. And that's the day. That's day 78. Heading into today, day 79. Of course, we have an eviction where Corey is looking like he will be voted out. Um, and then an HOH competition, very important HOH competition that somehow Jag is going to be allowed to play in. Ooh, the invisible HOH is allowed to play in this competition because none of you know who he is. I mean, who they are. Ooh. Um, and there are a few people going after Jag, of course. Maybe even one going after Matt now. Maybe. Um, and you know, then what's interesting is that America did make some progress with Jag, so it is entirely possible that if Jag does win again, that he goes after Blue first because Blue is a little bit more of a comp threat. Um, so we'll see about all of that, but of course, the major thing here is just who wins the HOH. Once we find that out, we will figure out where the rest of this sort of trajectory will move. So that's what we've got from today. There were a couple of other funny moments. Yes, Corey asking Cerie if she had a son that was in a showmance on a show. How would she feel about it? Was pretty funny. But uh, you know, that's basically what we got. I'll be live tonight. Twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching tonight's eviction episode of Big Brother. It would be great if we had a live HOH. It would be fun. It would also mean that it would probably be a fair competition. But who knows? It will be, yes, it will be delayed slightly, I believe. But not too long. And then of course, tomorrow morning I'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today and tonight after the HOH competition on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. So make sure you tune in for that, so that you can see where things are headed in the next week. And you can find me on Instagram posting climbing stuff and Twitter, doing Twitter things occasionally, stuff like that. If you have not checked it out already, make sure you check out the tickets for the live show in LA coming up in like less than 2 weeks now, I think. You're just about, yeah, the Big Brother show in 2 weeks, the Survivor show in 2 weeks minus 1 day. It's a double feature. Survivor on Wednesday, Big Brother on Thursday. Come to the LA show. It'll be a good time. Check out the tickets. That's what we got. Thank you all so much for joining me here today, and I will see all of you next time.